today, if you've been following the podcast that I've been doing the past few weeks, today's kind of the summary in regards to diet. So we're going to be going over tips from the world's healthiest diets.
Welcome to the Restorative Longevity Podcast, where we share how to increase your quality of life while also increasing your longevity. Now let's welcome our host, Jimmy Yen, also known as the AcuSensei. Jimmy is a licensed acupuncturist, herbalist, nutritionist, and restorative longevity expert dedicated to guiding you on your journey to vibrant health and lasting wellness.
Tips from the world's healthiest diets. And what's the healthiest diets? The healthiest diets are the diets that people that are in this blue zones or centenarians eat, because the centenarians are the people that live over 100 years old and they have the highest quality of life. So it's not just about living older, it's about having the highest quality of life. That is the centenarians. And what do they eat, right? Because research can show, you can look at research and research can show you eating this will benefit this, right? And then you go home and eat it and you see nothing change. So, that's the thing about if you live your life based on only what is written, what is done clinically research, especially only here in the US, then it's going to be very difficult to live a higher quality of life for a sustained. Now, I'm not talking about just momentarily, short-term quality of life. I'm talking about living past 100, maybe living extra 20, 30 years of high quality of life. The best way, at least what I know, the best way is not to go to pubmed.com and look at research and say, oh, I need this nutrient, I need to eat this food, I need to eat this food, and this will make it, and it'll prevent me from getting diabetes, it'll prevent me from getting Alzheimer's, it'll prevent me from getting PCOS, it'll prevent me from getting Hashimoto's, right? That way, and this is just from me observing, the patients and people that I talk to, and also other practitioners. I haven't seen anybody be able to use just research and live a longer life. Two things: a longer life past 100 years old, and a high quality life as they get older, right? I haven't seen that happen. What I've seen happen is when people go to look at the research online, they may, it's not 100%, they may see improvement temporarily, but then once they stop whatever that stuff they're doing, everything comes back. Nothing's really fixed, okay? Kind of like it's a Band-Aid. So today, come back to today's topic. We're gonna it's almost like a summary of all like the greatest hits from the people who live the longest and people who have the highest quality of life. Okay, so let's start with some basics. So greens, this is, everybody knows fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables are it's something that everybody needs. And when we look at the centenarians in the blue zones or any of the areas, there's many areas in the world that have lots of people who live over 100. They just haven't been classified as a blue zone, and they could be, right? So what do they commonly eat? Well, it's the same information that we all know, but we refuse to do. Fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables. It's really that simple, right? Vegetables. Why? Because vegetables contain vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, right? These are all what our brain cells need to prevent, dementia and Alzheimer's, and to keep our cells, especially our brain, healthy. And then when it comes to fruits, I like to go over a couple of things about fruits, right? So you probably heard this also. The best fruits to eat, if you're wondering, you might want to write this down. The best fruits to eat are berries, and I'm going to go over a couple of things. Some of the berries you may not even think of, right? But the most common one are like blueberries, raspberries, cranberries, even cherries, right? Because there's many research that's been done that shows that these berry extracts from blueberry, cranberry, blackberry, cherry, strawberry, and Concord grapes, they all improve or prevent cognitive decline. They help you prevent you from getting dumber and losing your memories, right? So if you want to improve your memory, hit the berries. And let me repeat the list: blueberry, cranberry, blackberry, cherry, strawberry, Concord grapes, okay? So these are the ones that many research studies have shown actually help improve your memory and prevent you from cognitive decline. Now here are some berries that I didn't think about. When I think about berries, I didn't think about these type of berries. Cacao. Yes, chocolate, as in cacao, right? Cacao, it comes from berries, right? I didn't know that. Cacao comes from berries, and cacao is loaded with antioxidants. And I'm going to butcher these names, so forgive me. They have antioxidants like theobromine. It's a close relative of caffeine, and many other powerful flavonoids. Okay, actually, recent clinical research trials have shown that consumption of cacao drinks. This is not hot chocolate. This is cacao drinks with a high flavonoid content of 500 to 1,000 milligrams. This is what happened. It improved attention. So maybe you have ADHD, get some cacao drinks, not hot chocolate. It's completely different. And I'm going to talk about this, but cacao drinks, it will help improve attention and memory. And this clinical trial was done on elderly, and it also reduced levels of inflammation and insulin levels in as little as 8 weeks. So drinking cacao drinks. So what's the difference? Everybody knows, you probably have heard cacao, and you're immediately thinking, oh, it's chocolate. It is chocolate, but it's not the chocolate that we eat, right? That we think that we're eating, that tastes so good. When we went to Taiwan, just a short story, my mom wanted me to buy some cacao, and then when we went over there and we were partaking in this cacao, it was bitter. It was not sweet at all. It almost, I would say, it did not even taste good. Okay. I mean, it's good to eat when you drink, I would say, green tea, but the real cacao is bitter. It does not taste good. There's no sugar, very little sugar in it. Very little. It is so bitter. I mean, so this cacao drink, don't be thinking it's like hot cocoa and it's going to be like with marshmallows. No, cacao drink is going to be bitter. So if you want the effects of improving your attention and memory, okay, reducing inflammation, reducing your insulin levels, and after 8 weeks, drink cacao for 8 weeks. Okay. The next berry it's kind of a berry that, coffee. Now I know coffee comes from beans. Okay. But here's the thing. These beans are, again, the berries of a coffea plant. So coffee technically is a berry. It's okay. It's a bean from a berry. Okay, from a berry. It's roasted coffee beans, which are the berries. They are the berries of a coffea plant, right? Now, everybody knows coffee contains caffeine, right? But it also has, and you probably heard this, it has a lot of antioxidants, such as chlorogenic acid. What does that all mean, right? Do you need to know what that means? No, you don't. What is the benefit of that? Well, coffee does have some health benefits. It lowers the rates of diabetes and heart disease. Yes, it lowers the rates of diabetes and heart disease, and it can help prevent dementia. Okay. Now, caffeine is used in a lot of medications, and it's used in some actually Chinese herbal formulas. And the purpose, I'll just talk about the Chinese herbal formulas because that's my specialty. My specialty is not in medications. The caffeine that is added into, there's one formula, Chinese formula, that is specifically used for headaches, right? Have you ever noticed people who have migraines or headaches, they can drink some coffee and it helps? Why? Because caffeine is called a vasodilator. It opens up your blood vessels. So when you drink caffeine, when you think caffeine, for some people, it causes your heart to race, right? It's because it also helps. It raises your heart rate, but it also vasodilates. It opens up your blood vessels, which allows more blood to flow through an area. Whenever you have pain in any area, like we're just talking about headaches and migraines, but if you have pain in any area of your body, the key solution is this is what your body does naturally. Your body will move blood to that area, right? It will move blood to that area to decrease the inflammation. That is the only way to decrease inflammation, is to move more blood with nutrition to that area to decrease inflammation. Caffeine helps with that. So a little of caffeine does help. Now, caffeine, people, patients that come to our clinic at Achieve Integrative Health, they ask, hey, how much coffee can I drink? Well, I typically don't recommend coffee because there's many different ways to get caffeine. For example, green tea, right? It's a different type of caffeine, but still, it's a little caffeine if you want it. But coffee, no more than 1 cup per day, 8 ounce, 8 ounce, no more than 1 cup, 8 ounce per day. Okay, I have to make that 8 ounce disclaimer, because when I told the patient, I remember probably a few years ago, I told the patient, oh, just 1 cup, and then they showed me their cup, and their cup was like this size. Oh, you mean this cup? Okay, I'm like, no, it's not that cup, only 8 ounce. Okay, next thing, red wine. Oh, people who love to drink alcohol, you're gonna love this, right? Red wine. We know it's a great source for resveratrol. I'm mispronouncing that, which is an aromatic compound found in the skin of grapes. On a side note, the most nutrition, when you eat a fruit, the most nutrition part of the fruit is the skin. It's not the meat, it's the skin. Okay. But here's the thing, resveratrol, you can also find it in raspberries and mulberries, okay? So I don't like to drink, it's just my preference, but if you don't like to drink, hit some raspberries, right? So resveratrol, what is the benefit of that? If you drink wine, red wine, right? It has, obviously, it's antioxidant, right? And it also has neuron protecting effects. Wine also contains flavonoids that protects blood vessels, so heart disease, heart health, right? So how much, again, your question, a question that some of our patients ask is, how much wine can we drink? No more than 1 to 2 glasses. And again, I would say a glass, I would just keep it the same, just to keep things similar. With caffeine, 8 ounce, wine, 8 ounce. Okay, per day. And there are blue zones. Okay, some of the centenarians, they drink wine. Okay, and I kind of mentioned it in the previous podcast, but we'll go into more detail when we hit the lifestyle. Okay, next, tea. So everybody knows tea is great for your health, right? But if a lot of people, we like to drink black tea versus green tea because black tea tastes better. Why? Well, black tea is processed. All right. I went to a tea picking factory tour when I was in Taiwan. I think this was last year, and black tea is processed tea. If you really want just the original tea, unprocessed tea, it's called green tea or white tea. Okay, just FYI. Our brains, which does our brain prefer, black tea or green tea? Our brain prefers green tea, okay? Because it has double the amount of antioxidants. Green tea has double the amount of antioxidants versus black tea, right? So just think about that. You hit 2 birds with 1 stone. You kind of get more bang for the buck when you drink green tea. And green tea is also known for anti-aging, right? It contains a specific flavonoid called EGCG. I'm going to butcher this name, epigallocatechin 3 gallate. Again, you don't need to know what that means. Okay, what does it do? It protects the brain from accumulation of Alzheimer's plaque. So if you have a history of developing plaques, whether it's in your brain, it's in your spine, get in the habit of drinking at least 8 ounces of green tea every single day. Okay, so here's another thing. Local grains. So again, this is the healthy tips from the healthiest diets in the world. And this is what people are actually doing to live a longer life and a higher quality of life. Again, longer, high quality of life, not short term, not just for a few months. Okay, that's what a lot of these research talking about. Oh, you need this, like resveratrol, drink more wine. Okay, it helps one thing, but it's hurting, and people start downing wine like crazy because, oh, I'm drinking resveratrol, right? And then they're damaging their liver, they're damaging their kidneys, and every other stuff. Okay, here's another thing that these centenarians do that is against. It's actually not against. It's opposite of what is being preached here in the U.S. in regards to nutrition. Grains. eating whole grains. Okay, whole grains, beans, and starches. These are the staple. Let me repeat that. They are the staple of longevity diets. They are the staple of longevity diets. That means they eat it consistently almost every single day. Okay. Yes. It's completely opposite of what's taught here right now in nutritionists by nutritionists, dietitians, functional medicine practitioners. Completely opposite, right? These foods, grains, beans, and starches, this is what they do. They provide a slow release of brain supportive carbs and fiber. Okay? Supportive carbs and fiber while reducing the meal's glycemic load, which means it helps reduce your blood sugar, right? This is like almost counter to what you probably heard, especially here in the US, right? So it helps you avoid sugar rushes, right? So really the sugar surges and drops, okay? And out of these carbs, sweet potato is a superstar. Sweet potato is a superstar. Why? It is contained in almost all longevity diets. Almost all longevity diets are eating sweet potatoes. Why? They're full of dopamine enhancing nutrients, okay? They have high amounts of antioxidants and beta carotene. And in fact, one sweet potato contains 368% of the 368% over the recommended daily requirement of vitamin A, okay? And thankfully, our body, vitamin A is one of the vitamins that our bodies can store away and until it needs it, right? So a sweet potato solves all your problems for vitamin A. All right, next, unprocessed, high quality vegetable oils and fish oil rich in unsaturated fats, right? This is also very common in longevity diets. Fish is like the Mediterranean diet. As I said, the healthiest diet is the best, the perfect diet, the almost perfect diet is the Mediterranean diet, right? Nutrients contained in this, so in high quality vegetable oils, they promote cholesterol transport, okay? So the HDLs are able to shuttle. The HDLs, what we call the good cholesterol, bad cholesterol, they're really just shuttles. They're taxis for cholesterol. So when you eat a high quality vegetable oil and you eat fatty fish, it helps you transport cholesterol more effectively, okay? What does that do? It protects your heart, right? And it also provides a healthy supply of oxygen to the brain, okay? Now, fatty fish, we all heard this. It's salmon. Yeah, salmon is the best source, right? To date, there's 9 large-scale studies, epidemiological studies, have concluded that regular fish consumption is crucial for brain health. So I think what that means is most people agree fish improves your brain health, makes you smarter, helps your memory, prevents you from losing your brain. In fact, here's another study that says middle-aged and older people who consumed fish regularly, they succeeded in delaying their cognitive decline, so their brain power decline, getting worse. They were able to reduce that and also reduce the risk of Alzheimer's by 70%, by 70% if you eat fish regularly. So what is regularly? You want to make sure you write this down. Eating a high quality fatty fish 1 to 2 times per week. That's it. 1 to 2 times per week, you can reduce your cognitive decline. If you feel like, man, my brain's foggy, I just can't remember things, I'm not as sharp, eat more fish. Can you eat it every day? Absolutely. But at least eat it 1 to 2 times per week, okay? And last, it's not about just, even though, the recent podcast I've been doing, it's all about food. Food is just a small percentage of what we need to do in order to live a restorative longevity life. Restorative longevity life means longevity is high. It is long, right? You live a long, like centenarians, you live past 100. Restorative longevity means you are able to live a high quality life, a higher quality, not just higher. If you are in your 70s, you have a better quality of life than 40-year-olds. That is restorative longevity, and there are people around the world doing that. even though it is not common. I mean, it is not common, but it is possible. Okay, because people in the world come, and this is not people sitting in the lab getting tested. No. This is people living their real life in their real environment. So they have the stress of the day to day, just like you and me, right? But how come they are able to live past 100 and have a higher quality of life? Right? This is what this podcast is all about. So it's not only about what you eat, it's also about what you don't eat. Let me repeat that. It's not just, so many people think about, oh, what should I eat? What do I eat? I have psoriasis. I have acne. I have, dementia. What do I need to eat? What you need to eat is very important, but what you should not be eating is also very important. Okay. So let's look at what these healthiest people are doing. All longevity diets reduce, they eat very minimal red meat and dairy. Yes, the people who live the longest and have the highest quality of life eat very little red meat and dairy. By this way, they lower their intake of saturated fat and cholesterol. Now, centenarians across the world, doesn't matter what country they're in, have a lower risk of heart disease because of this. Now, they do eat meat. Some do eat meat. I'm not saying they don't eat meat. When they do eat meat, they eat it from pasture-raised animals only. And they get their dairy products from goats and sheep, not from cows, goats and sheep, okay? I just heard from, I haven't confirmed this, so it could be a rumor, but I just heard yesterday that cows here in the US, they are bred specifically, like horse. When you have people who raise horses, they want to breed a specific breed because of the genetics. They're doing that with cows here in the US. They breed a specific type of cow, right? So these cows are they're really becoming like what I call bioengineered. Eventually, it's like we're going to be, probably in 20 years, we're not going to be able to determine, okay, if this animal is genetically modified animal or is it a real animal, right? We won't know. And so it's pretty scary. So, but I got off track, sorry. Sheep and goats, their meats are leaner and they contain more PUFAs, polyunsaturated fatty acids, right? And their milk actually contains higher amounts of brain essential nutrients like B vitamins and serotonin boosting tryptophan. Okay, I talked about tryptophan in a previous podcast, so make sure you go back and watch those podcasts. I talked about tryptophan early on in the podcast, earlier podcast. If you haven't subscribed to our podcast, please to our channel, please subscribe to get this information. Okay, this information is not. I didn't go to PubMed and just read it and say, oh yeah, this works. No. This is the information that I'm getting from people who are actually living past 100 years old and living a higher quality of life. And more importantly, this is information that I help our patients, our live patients in our clinic at Achieve Integrative Health, the #1 acupuncture wellness clinic in North America. This is what we are teaching them, and this is what they are doing to achieve restorative longevity. Okay, so not only is it I'm getting information from people all around the world who are actively doing this data, all this information I've been sharing throughout all these podcasts, and as well as Chris McKee, my partner, who is a nutritionist. It's from them, the longevity, the centenarians, and also patients in our clinic today. Okay, so it's not made up information. So lastly, goats and sheep. If you want to drink milk, get it from goats and sheep, okay? Not from cows, okay? All right. So that was kind of like the highlights, the best hits of the world's healthiest diets. It was just kind of summary. If you want to go into more detail, you can watch the previous podcast. Next week, we're going to hit some, part of restorative longevity. Like I said, diet is important, but it's not the end all be all. And it's a very small percentage, right? But it's the most thing that we focus on. It's important. I'm not saying it's not important, But there's other things that are even more important than your diet if you want to achieve restorative longevity. And we're going to start with something. I'm gonna go over next week one of the most crucial parts that's more important, okay? More important than diet. So you guys tune in, okay? Tune in next Sunday, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you for those who are watching. I didn't see any comments. I do love comments. So if you ever have any comments, and I apologize, I see comments later, and it's just, I think the YouTube is just a little delayed, okay? So if you can type in your comments sooner, I think it shows up faster, right? But thank you for tuning in. I know you could be watching something else, but you chose to tune in. I appreciate you, and we'll see you next week. Peace.
This episode is sponsored by Achieve Integrative Health, the #1 acupuncture clinic in the US. We're grateful for their support in helping us bring you the Restorative Longevity podcast.